Okay, just to be sure, let me welcome everyone again to another beautiful time. I hope and I believe that we have benefited a lot from the last few weeks. And we are beginning to, get to the beauty of some of these, one of the dilemma that most of us have as beginners, including me, is that we learn a lot, right? We throw ourselves at this course. We go on Udemy. We do 30 days in Python. We go on. I don't know. There are so many. There are so many course. There are so many course providers out there. Coursera, EDX. We learn Python, right? But somehow we find out that we don't have hands-on experience with this stuff. Right? That's why we've set up this code along, so that there is some level of hands-on experience. We're able to even code together the basics. I'm sure for those of us that have been following this from the very beginning, you'll know that, yes, somehow if you follow us, you can pick up the code wherever we stop and try and practice on it by yourself. You can decide to write along, of course, if you are not too fast. Most of the time we are too fast, right? And at the end of all of that, we are now working on a project to do something that should actually be implementable by all of us. All of us can implement. So we are coding the game of Hangman. And last week, we were able to do something. We were able to set up the difficulty, right? So we created two files. Start game. Oh, did I create start game? Okay, we just created set difficulty. Let me show you that. Now the set difficulty module. See, I already begin to use the word module. It's kind of nice as programmers. The set difficulty module allows us to, when somebody wants to play a game, you ask him to choose how difficult he wants the game to be, right? So this set difficulty allows him to choose. Oh, I want difficulty easy, normal, hard, or impossible, right? And when he does that, he should be able to return something. In our case, what defines difficulty for our Hangman game? What's the minimum length of the word? What's the maximum length of the word? And how many tries does he have how many times can he try before he is deemed to have failed? So I want to quickly ask, do all of us at least have an understanding of how the game Hangman works? I think that will probably help us to start so that we're on the same page. Because that's very key. We need to understand the pseudocode, right? If we cannot do the abstraction, then we're going to be lost. Okay, so I can see a lot of yes. That's good. That's good. Okay, so if you don't, you can just hit no, and I'm going to know where we are. Right. So the next thing, remember when we stopped last time, we said we are going to do something this week. We're going to try and see how we can extract words from a file. Who remembers that, right? So we have a dictionary. Remember, we looked at the dictionary of files. Let me go back to VS Code. I'm going to close this. I'm going to let me just look at C. Clear. And this is where we should be. And we said that we are going to look at we looked at two files. This looks too complicated, right? We decided, okay, let's look at something simpler. Words alpha. Words alpha shows us a long list of all of the words in the English dictionary. Right? Now, we have set difficulty. We have allowed the user to pick a difficulty. How do we use that difficulty to extract the right word? So we'll use the difficulty module, right? Or the result of what we of the difficulty selected and pick. So the user picks easy, for example. Let's come back here. Let's use this. So if the user picks easy, for example, we expect that it will go and pick from these words alpha and pick words between 5 and 6. right? And then we give him number of tries of 5. That is what we expect to happen. And the person picks normal, and so on and so forth, right? So let's begin writing some code, right? Now, you know how we like to do this stuff, right? We go and start with Jupyter Lab right here. And what we can start creating is we can create, we're supposed to be in the game files. I've already created it, so I'm not going to make it visible yet. So let's call it, let's do a new notebook. Okay, it can be anywhere anyway. Let's just continue the notebook we're using. So remember the goal, right? We are trying to pick a random file from a random text from a file, right? That's the goal. We're trying to pick a random word from a file. All right, so to pick a random word, let's be sure of where we are. You can always run, yeah, that's probably a tip I didn't give you. You can run Windows commands on this same Jupyter Lab. So if you do Linux as well, ls means list the files in the directory. So in our Hangman folder, we have these files, which you probably notice is the same thing as game files, main.py. You can see that game files, main.py. So you can run Linux commands in this same Jupyter Lab rather. Okay, so what we're interested in extracting the content of a file, right? And the file is in a folder called game files. So let's even navigate cd game files. Let's be sure of where we are. Now we are in the game files folder, right? Okay. Sorry, hold on. How do I stop? Okay, no problem. I found it. All right. So now let's get the name of the file, of the file. The name of the file in our case is what is it? What's the name of the file? What's the name of the file? Words underscore alpha. And how do you open a file? You use open, right? So you do with open words alpha dot txt. Since you are opening it as read-only, even though the default is read-only, if you are not sure, you can always do Shift Tab to tell you that the default is read-only, right? It says open a file and return a string. So with open words alpha.txt_r, right, as file. I'm hoping that this still rings a bell if you want to open a file. So to make it, well, easy in a way, we can do print read file.read lines. Oh, okay. I think the file is too big for my. Okay, no problem. That's my problem. Our file is too big. So what we can do is let's create a loop. Let me come back to to VS Code and come here. Okay, what I'll do is let's even use a sample. I think that will probably help us. Yeah, let's use a sample. So let me navigate back. Let me close this. So since our file is too big, let's start with a sample. Cd dot which should take us back to where sample is. Good. So we can start with this sample and say with open sample.txt r as file. print file dot read lines. Okay, so since our file is smaller, Jupyter can handle it better, right? So you can see what's happening here. The exact file is what is printing right here, but it's printing, well, it's printing as a list, which is expected, right? Now, the next thing we want to see if it's possible for us to extract. Remember, what is coming from the difficulty module are three things. Do you remember them? One is minimum length, right? The next one is maximum length, and the next one is number of tries. These are the three things that are the, let's go and check so that we know what we're saying, right? Let's open it by the side. So we see here, difficulty, what is returned is an object called difficulty, and difficulty is a dictionary that allows people to, depending on what, just sets three strings, minimum word length, maximum word length, and number of tries, right? Simple stuff. So, sorry about my throat. I need that. And while I wait for water. Now, the next thing is to pick out a word, right, that meets these criteria, right? So what you can do is you can start a loop and say for, okay, right inside this place. So let me take this one out. For word in file. So that means we are looking at each word in the file. You can always test and say print word. You know how we do all this stuff where we test that the stuff is working, right? So we can say for word in file, we can say print word dot, we are stripping. So we want to remove a couple of things. Remember, if you look, notice very closely, there are extra spaces between them. So strip. Stripping the extra space, and just for consistency, let's convert it to lowercase, just in case these things come in uppercase, so that there's consistency, right? Try this again. You see somehow we've been able to individually print each item, right? Good. So we are gradually progressing towards how we can extract a random word from this one. Now, what that means, what's next? What's next? You have to now think, okay, how do we extract a random word from this, right? Another thing you can do is, remember the one we did about file read lines. You can also do that. You can say words is equal to, okay, you can go another way. Say words is equal to file dot read lines. Just a test, print words. Okay, so since we want to strip the extra stuff beside it, you can say dot how do we remove the, let's see. Okay, that's fine. So we can say we can do a list comprehension for word in words. I can do word, okay. All words, I'm coding this like is equal to word dot strip and for word in words. Of course, like if it's list comprehension, you wrap this around, you can always test print all words. Okay, somehow we have pulled out the, we've stripped out the extra line from each word, right? So now that I've printed it, the next thing we need to look at is how do we extract a random word from this? Oh, remember, there is something else we have to do here. We need to meet two criteria. So we need to come and do something called selected valid words. So we are extracting stuff from all words. So we can say word for word in all words if word is greater than or equal to word dot length. So length of the word is greater than or equal to minimum length. So that means we need to create a variable called minimum length. Let's just call it, let's call the minimum length. What's the shortest word here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Let's say 5. Maximum length. Let's assume we are doing easy. So if we choose this easy, for example, we should pick, at least we should pick nuclear, this guy, because this is the one that meets that criteria. And length word is less than or equal to maximum length. So let's print valid words. And you see there, somehow with this, we've been able to extract nuclei. Now I'm going to take a break for a moment. Now this one has gotten us to the point where I'm beginning to use list comprehensions that might be too complicated. I did a short video on how you can master list comprehensions on my YouTube channel. Let me show you that for a moment. Let's see if I still have it. Give me one moment. Do I still have it? Do I still have it? Do I still? Let's see. So I think you should look at this video. It's 20 minutes. You can, it will allow you to understand how list comprehensions work and how you can use them. Now, I've shown you how you can do these list comprehensions, right? I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go through how you can do it without list comprehension. Simple, easy way to get it done, right? So let's do just the same thing. I'm going to come down here just for those that are finding it difficult to get the list comprehensions working. So we do the same thing with open, typing, let me create, okay, that's fine. With open, let me just create it. Since this is something we constantly use, let's create a constant called word lists. I think I've, right, okay, let me just fix that. Sample.txt. So this is technically a constant, so you can call this word list. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This still works? Yes. So I can come here and say with open word list R as file for word in file. Word is equal to, so we are technically reassigning word is equal to word.strip n dot lower. Of course, you can always test this and say print word. That works for us. Now, the next thing we're going to do is somewhere here, we are going to be doing if length Let's just combine them. If minimum length is less than or equal to length of word, is less than or equal to max length, right? So let's create a words list. So you can say words.append word. Of course, you can always be sure that it works and say print words. I'm trying the wrong. Yeah. Okay, can we get out of here? Am I getting it wrong? Let's see. Oh, yes, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. So that means nuclear meets the criteria of between 5 and 6. Remember, the whole list of words is, let's be sure. I think, where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Sample text, yeah. So you see, it's nuclear that meets that criteria, right? Everything else doesn't. Let's pick another difficulty and call it, let's say we use a difficulty of, where are you? Yeah, this guy. It's already here. So we say difficulty of normal is between 7 and 9. So let's test that out. So let's just change this to 7 and let's change this to 9. You see here that everything changes, and now we're able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, right? Now, there's one more thing we've not done. We have not been able to extract the random word, right? So let's do that. How do we extract random word? We use the random function. And there is a random, there's a function here, there's a method in random that is called choice. It allows you to just pick only one. If you don't know it, probably if you check Google, you'll find out. It allows you to pick only one choice. Choose a random element from a non-empty sequence. Right? That's what it says. So that means if we do random choice words, see here, these are all our words, and we pick a random choice. If I do it again, it will always remain random. And somehow, if you ask me, if you look at it very closely, we have been able to build a random selector. No matter the length of words. That means all I have to do is, if I change this, where is it? This word list, let me just type it here. Word list is equal to sample.txt. So if I change the sample.txt from sample.txt to game file slash word underscore alpha. So if I come here and I change this to game file slash words underscore alpha. Remember, this is because we're not trying to reference this guy. I won't print this. Let me combine everything together. So I'm going to, let me undo this so that we are doing a copy and paste. So just so we are creating a new import random. So we are changing our word list to game files slash, what was that again? Words alpha. Okay, this will probably be very, very long, but let's give it a try. I hope this doesn't get very, very messy. Let's see. Oh, game underscore files. My apologies. I hope it doesn't crash my code. Aha. So now this is technically a long list. That means our code works, right? A long list of all words between 7 and 9 characters, right? 7 to 9 characters. So if you go and pick a different difficulty, for example, we want someone that, oh, let's pick this one as difficult, 12 to 16 words. See that if you look at this, you have just built, somehow I have built a random word generator. This is, what do we say, 12 to 16? It's a while, and it throws another long list of 12 to 16 words. Remember, sorry, let me take out this part and just print random choice of words. So instead of printing all the words, let us print a random choice. And you will continue to rerun this, and a single word will always come out. It's getting interesting, right? Yeah. So, of course, you see a lot of things come to mind when you do this. A lot of things come to mind when you do this. Oh, you can create a random word generator. People used to create a password brute force cracker. Don't ask me how I thought about that. You can use it to do various things that technically when the, I think the first password cracker, then I think it's called Cain and Abel. Is it Cain and Abel or John the Ripper? I'm trying to remember that. It was a Python script really that passed a word list that allowed you to pass a dictionary list, and a Python file, a Python script just like this, continues to try, does a loop over the word list and tries those parts. Brute force hacking many years ago. Hacking has changed from between then and now though. But that's we digress. So somehow we've been able to build a random module, random word selector, right? So what we can do next is that we can now take this, put it together in a module, right, and get our code in place. So let's do something. Let's create a file called main. You see how I can decide to use Jupyter if I want. Main.py. And with main.py, remember we had a set difficulty module, right? So let's even do a test so we're even sure that this works. Let me create a notebook and start testing. Let's use this notebook as if this notebook is the main.py itself. I'll explain why we are doing that so that you are sure that whatever I'm putting in the main.py will work. So let's import the difficulty module. Since it's in the same folder, I can do from set difficulty import. Oh, why am I typing it twice? This set difficulty is this file, right? Inside the set difficulty, there is a function called set difficulty. So we are importing it. So set difficulty import set. What's the name of the set difficulty? This guy, right? And you can type the same thing here. Oops, sorry. Right? And we can also import, oh, we've not created a random yet. I think I already have something created that should be of semblance to that, but this time I think I used the dictionary. Okay, what we'll do is, let's take the file we have made, which is this one. Oh, I didn't show us how to convert this to a function. It's kind of easy, really. Define get random, right? And then pass that thing we just copied. I just copied that and paste it in it. And then instead of printing, we are returning, and that's it. Oh, now what that means is that in our case, we are getting minimum length and maximum length from somewhere, right? Let's not forget that. So we need to pass this now into the random as function. So we can call it minimum length. We can call a default value for it too, if you like. We can as well leave it blank. Maximum length. And I think that's all. Should we add word list? 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 Really? Should we add word list? Let's see. Should we add word list? Okay, let's add a word list since we're going to, we might just change it just in case. So let's add word list. So what this means is if I run this, you expect me to do get random, minimum length 5, maximum length 7, word list, let me just copy it. Let me steal this information. And you see this works, right? If I change 5 to 5, 7 to 5, 5, for example. Oh, does it work? It doesn't need to work. Oh, I see. I see why it didn't work. Because we had already hard coded this guy. So I need to remove the hard coding, run this again. Okay, looks like it works. Between 5 and 7, between 12 and 20. Let's even see. Is there an 18-letter word? Oh, there's actually an 18-letter word. But then at least you see that we've been able to get this to work with as a function, right? So let's take this one and then create a get random function that will pass it into. Let me close this. I've used this already. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll comment everything so that we are creating stuff from scratch. Yeah. Is there anything that's not commented here? I'll delete this one. Don't need it anymore. So let's just copy the content of our get random. I like to pass. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm a sucker for passing default arguments. Should I? Okay, let's leave it. Yeah, let's pass default argument. So what we'll do is I'll just okay. Let's use it as this. Let's go to get random. Let's paste this here. If I save, saving completed. And if I open a terminal, add terminal loading. I'm sorry, I hope we are still together, right? I'm sure by the end of this, by the end of today, we should have been able to at least cover this random part. Then I'm looking at how we can put everything together in one place. Where is my, okay, my terminal is still loading. I'll let it load. So we have a, okay, let's pull up VS Code. VS Code does not disappoint. So what we have here is that we now have in our game files folder, let me close this. Let me close this. We have a couple of things. We have a, where's our get random? Get random, which now has that thing we just did here. So we can just call the word. So you can say Python import get random. See, that worked, right? You can do dir get random. I'm sure it just return only one thing, get random. So let's re-import again from get random import get random. So we're importing get random from the file or the module get random. So we can do dir again, get random. And I'm sure nothing should be in it. So if I do help get random, nothing should be there either because we did not define a help. But at least you see that it allows us what we just said here. Get random, min length, max length, word list. Same thing. So you can just run get random 5, 5. What's our word list in this case? Our word list is, do we have a word list here? Words underscore alpha. So words alpha.txt. Oh, word list is not defined. We have an error. Oh, okay. Sorry. I need to make this word list. So save. Let me just make it word list, just for consistency's sake. I can change this to lists. Nothing really changes that anyway. So if I re-import, I run. Okay, I need to exit, I guess. Exit, run Python again from get random, import get random 55 words alpha.txt. See here, we have a 5-letter word, minimum 5, maximum 5 that returns, and maximize that. In fix, if I change this to 6, I hope it's beginning to make sense. Or let's just say 7, 8, 5. You see that now we have our module. So that means this same way, we can also take this same thing and go and import it. So let's create a main.py file. I think, this is it. So let's create a main.py file and we start importing all of our modules inside. So I went to Jupyter and I tried to create a main.py file that might just work really well. So if I do get random, which I'm sure I've explained already, import get random. You can always test and say get, like we did before, to be sure everything works. Let me be sure of the folder, yeah. Am I in the right folder? No, I need to navigate to game files. So I'm in the right folder. Is that wrong? All right, where am I? Oh, I'm already there. Okay. Sorry. So if I do get random 5, 10, 5, 10 words alpha.txt, and this works, right? So we've used get. Now let's see if we can get the set difficulty to import stuff into the get random. Remember our set difficulty was set. How does it work? Let's go and find out. Let's ask set difficulty. Somewhere here, it asks for a couple of things. I can run set difficulty without any input. I can make this blank, really. I don't need this, really. But then, instead of let us say it as is. So if I run set difficulty, you see what happened here? It asks for easy. So if I enter easy 1, it returns something, right? So we can pass the return statement for this specific stuff into get random. What I mean is we can do get random. So instead of 5 and 10, we can now come to our main and say, okay. So let's create a difficulty. So this one I will just do. This one that is passed here right now, right? Let's pass it into a variable called difficulty. Right? If I run this, it asks for the same thing. I pick easy, and looks like nothing happens. But when I print difficulty, it returns this, right? I can now pass this information into get random, and now say difficulty. Since difficulty is a dictionary, you can say minimum word length, right? That's the first thing in get random. The next one will be difficulty max word length. Does it need anything else? Now, okay, it needs a words alpha, so we can just manually fix that. So let's even create it somewhere before we even start. Word lists is equal to words alpha dot. Since this is a static constant, it does not change. So we can call it word lists. And if we do this, you see here, so that means once somebody is able to, if you put this stuff together, let me come back here, let me just copy this stuff, I don't need it anymore. To put this stuff together, you can just come and do import this, difficulty is equal to set difficulty. Remember what this does, right? It asks the user to pick a random word and da 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 da, and does this and does that, and then gets a difficulty. From there, you can now guess the random word. So you can do get, let's even pass it as a variable. Random word is equal to get random word from where? Difficulty minimum word length, difficulty maximum word length. Right? And you see here, we're testing that. And what just happened? Get random word is, oh, sorry, it's get random. Is it get random word? So yeah, okay, it's get random. So this should be get random. Type 1, are we still missing? Oh, we missed word list. Oops, 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 oops. Sorry. So word, let me go and get that too. I guess that's why it's always good to have default arguments in some places. So this get random, it's actually be nice that it get random has default argument. So let's go back to get random and just infix a default argument. So in case I forget to add default arguments, I'm cheating. Yeah, all right. Okay, so let's come to this place and see if we can cheat. So this time I did not put anything. What am I missing? Oh, okay, I might need to restart my kernel. That will take a while. Okay, let's use it as is. Let's just pass it since he wants us to pass it anyway. So word lists 1. Looks like nothing happened, but let's print random word. Let's even print it here. So each time, if we pick difficulty of 2, it prints the random word of evenness. If we pick difficulty of 3, it prints random word of misformation, right? And you see that it continues. If I enter 0, this is the pattern I just have to fail. Now it says non-type is not subscriptable. So somebody is none. Who is none? So let's print difficulty here. And welcome, Jack. You're late, very late. And you see here that difficulty was none. And because difficulty was none, this stuff is trying to work on something that is a non-type. It does not exist, right? And it fails. So this year we have to now do some form of error handling, right? So we can always do, let's see, somewhere here and say if we can use any method. If difficulty is like saying if the difficulty is valid, so if you run this and enter 0, nothing happens, right? So let me even take this out. Enter 0, at least our code no longer fails, but nothing happens. But we wanted them to enter 0 to exit, right? So you can say 0 print code will now exit. So if I choose 0, oops, sorry, there you have it. If I choose 1, it prints the random word that meets the difficulty of 1. If I choose 3, see that? So our random word has, so somehow with this block of code, we've been able to do a few things, right? Import 2 modules, difficulty and random. and we use it in our code to begin to put the game together. So you see, somehow you're learning how to write modular code, right? So we can now go to our main. This guy's finally come. Yeah, after so long. I leaked. Anyway, that's story for another day. I can always close that. I can go to our main. Our main is blank. So we can pick this block of code and paste it in main.py. Save. I can go back and test. If it works. It's my shut it down. And we run. It's kind of strange. Acting strange. Well, if it's acting strange, we'll go to VS Code. You can use any ID you want, man. Ain't nobody. Okay, so our main.py is already updated. Let me exit this. And let's go and test that what we did. So Python main.py. First thing it asks, enter a difficulty. Okay, let's even test. Let's enter 0 to exit. Well, just like we said it should do, code has exited. Enter difficulty, easy. And something has happened. Word list is not defined. So where is our problem? Let's go to main.py, which is here. And it says word list is not defined. But word list is defined. Oh, look at the error message, get random.py. Get random. So let's go to the get random file. And we still have our word list problem. Oh, because I remember I changed this and I didn't save it. So let's change this from okay, now word list should be defined. Let's come here and run again. Let's maximize this. See, looks like that works, right? Let's change to normal and let's change to hard. And let's change to impossible. It's kind of strange that hard and impossible look very similar. Let's print hard again. What's our pseudocode for this stuff? Once again, let's go back and check. Pseudocode says, oh no, the content is not in pseudocode, it's in set difficulty. Minimum length should be 11, impossible should be 12 and 16. 11 to 16. So we have a problem with our code itself. Oh, it's actually 10 to 12. So I need to change this. 10 to 12. Number of tries is 10. Well, 11 to 16, number of tries is 8. So that means this should be probably, I see why there's an overlap. So 10 to 12, 7, 9, 7, 10, 12. So this should be 13. Let's make it longer, 20. Save. Come to main.py, or rather, let's rerun. Let's maximize this. And let's do hard. Okay. And let's do impossible. Okay, now they look like they are different. Let's try again. Scandalous. Okay, looks like they're gonna work now. All right, so there we have it. We have somehow done a couple of things. Do you remember? We have created a module that all its job is doing is extract a random word from a file. Then the next thing we did, we created what I call the center of the equation. That's the one that extracts that calls all the modules. That's the main.py, right? I know this is probably a lot to take in, but you probably notice that it's something that is really possible. If you understand the concept, you can always fly in, get it done. Right? I think this rate time is actually up. So we're in 1 hour. In 1 hour. So I hope that we have learned everything we need to. I'm sure next week we'll try and put the whole thing together, and it should look like this. Let me show. Oh, okay, something is actually missing. I know why. I need to go and make some changes, some serious changes. Okay. Maybe by next week we'll probably put some of this stuff together to see how the whole code comes together. Remember a couple of things we still need to do. We need to allow the user to guess a letter and then check if the letter is in the word. And then the letter is in the word, tell him that it's correct. If the letter is not in the word, decrement some counter. Remember, in the difficulty that we extracted, let me go back and show you. The difficulty that we extracted, right? There's a third result that we got out of that. The result is called number of tries. Yeah, here. So next week, we're going to start to use this number of tries to see how we can do a counter that decrements the number of tries as we extracted it from the difficulty module. Right? I think that brings us to the end of this. If you have any questions, please, I would love to hear it. So I think at this point, we have come to the end of this video session. As always, I'm going to upload the content on this playlist. What I always advise at any point in time, you can extend an invite to someone. I think it's very easy. You just need to go to that link, sign up, fill in a lot of these small things, and you probably get yourself on a mailing list where we can always send you updates, send you reminders on the next section, on the next session rather, and some other interesting stuff, right? All of what we're doing is Python, and we'll continue to do Python. And we'll continue to be very relevant in Python. So that brings us to the end of this, and I'll say, everyone, thank you very much for showing up. Oh, I have a couple of. All right, have a beautiful time. I am sure that you will. Yes, please do. Go ahead and try it and you enjoy yourself. All right, guys, cheers and bye.